Did you know we used to carry shark? Wasn't really popular, but we always had it. Right in the seafood section between frog legs and swordfish, we'd have a small selection of thresher shark, but you can't get it anymore. Off the market. Last time we got any was probably 8 years ago or so. And the reason why is pretty brutal. Shark meat has never been that valuable. Back in the day, we used to sell the loin steaks for maybe $6.99 a pound. Um, but these guys aren't after the meat. They just want the fins, and the fins can go for like $100 a pound at the minimum, and over $1,000 a pound for a high quality one. So what you're watching right now is shark finning, and what they'll do is harvest only the fins and just pitch the rest of the shark right over the edge. Super illegal, by the way, but you make a lot more money selling the fins. So what are the shark fins used for? Man, I was really hoping it would be like some medical marvel or some magical healing ingredient or an aphrodisiac, something I can get behind. But nope, it's soup. That's just soup, and this soup is like super expensive too. So the soup in this video went for $170. Let's just see if it's worth the price, huh? All right. So it says here that the taste of the soup comes from the broth, as the fins themselves have little perceptible flavor. Oh, yeah, that sounds great. And some words used to describe its texture is gelatinous, chewy, sinewy, stringy, somewhere between chewy and crunchy. I gotta be honest, this soup sounds terrible. But apparently, it's really popular in Asian cultures. It's associated with prestige and status and wealth and class. It's served for special occasions like weddings and banquets and big celebrations and fancy dinners. And that's why it fetches such a high price. So nobody wants the meat and everybody just wants the fins. So naturally, the boats trying to make the most profit filled their cargo holds up with nothing but fins, discarding all of the carcasses. But eventually, the government stepped in. In the United States, there really weren't any major federal anti finning laws, but that changed in 2000 with the Shark Finning Prohibition Act. And that became the first major federal law directly targeting shark finning. Now you can pause and read this if you like, but the gist of it is catching sharks just for their fins and discarding the rest is officially illegal. The problem was that this new law had a loophole. You could still fin sharks at sea. The weight of the fins just couldn't exceed 5% of the weight of the carcasses. Add that with the fact that you could process the fins and the carcasses separate, it made this law really hard to enforce. So finning essentially continued unregulated. Then around 2010, 2011 came the Shark Conservation Act. This is where they tightened the laws. The loopholes were now closed. All sharks were required to be landed with their fins still attached to their bodies. And that made finning a lot more difficult. And again, you can pause it if you want to read it. But even after the Shark Conservation Act, I still remember being able to source it up until like 2017, maybe 2018. But now it's really gone. Nobody wants to deal with the headache that comes from dealing with shark. And although there is most certainly a black market for fins, the Shark Conservation Act is what keeps shark out of our freezer and off of your dinner table. And that's weird because there was a time when shark was just normal. It had its place in the seafood case just like anything else. Never really getting much attention, but it was always there. Then one day, it wasn't. Most of this had already happened by the time I got into the grocery business. I kind of just caught the tail end of it. But the world changes, markets change, and while it's important to understand the past, we can't live in the past. We have to stay future focused. And honestly, I think what comes next might be even better.